Invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flying came down, removing trees. We pray for your protection for them. For our community, we recover from a small storm, Lord. We're thankful that there is not even more damage. Father, as they meet tonight, as we make plans for this summer, let your wisdom rule and reign in our hearts. We pray this, powered by the Holy Spirit, in the name and character of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Munn. Moving into the consent agenda, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. City Commission special meeting minutes for Tuesday, June 5th, 2018. 2018 appropriation ordinance number AO-18-11 in the amount of $6,409,426.41. Resolution number R-18-44, a resolution to approve the purchase of one used Chevrolet Tahoe for the police department. And last item, action to approve a cereal malt beverage license for Phelps Hog Heaven, 511 West 11th Street. Are there questions or amendments to these items on the consent agenda?
I just have something I'd like to bring out if I can. You know, I know our payables, every time we meet, this is pretty high, $6 million. And so I'd like to, I know $4 million of it has to do with our bonds. And I've asked Stephanie if she would come up and kind of talk about that, so that everybody kind of understands, because this is a large amount to pay this time. $6,409,000, and most of it are the bonds. So she can talk about that.
It's payable to the city treasurer, which is we make those payments through. We make those to the state, and then they're remitted to bondholders. We do have a payment amount of $482,000. That was Series 2016 A bonds. Those are the bonds that were issued for the municipal building projects. So we're starting to pay back those funds, and the source revenue for those is our sales tax. The next one, $2.2 million, is for the Series 2015 B bonds. Those are the non-taxable portion of the bonds used to build the new generation plant. The next payment was for $446,000. That is also, that's the 2015 C bonds. Those are also related to the new generation plant. Those are the ones that we are currently refunding the 2015 taxable piece. We're refunding those and issuing 2018 A with the double barrel GO and revenue bond for those. On the next page, there's 2013 A bonds. Those are also electric bonds. Those are the bonds that were issued for the First Street utility improvements that were put down on First Street. The 2011 A bonds, those were the bonds for the 138 KV line replacement project that we did out Fourth Walmart. And the Series 2015 C, that remaining, the $19,900 there, that's the increase that we had due to the rating downgrade that we had. So that's again separately, but it's also related to those 2015 C bonds that we're refunding.
Like I said, and I know we meet on, and have work sessions and things on about this, but the public may not know. And, you know, to see a $6 million payable register, and that, like I said, $4 million of it is of these bonds, and we're working on to do that.
Majority of our bonds are going to be June 1 and December 1.
Right.
In the 6 months and that. Right. Right. And, you know, another thing we had on here was our payment to the insurance for our auto property and liability, and that was almost $250,000. And it just, to tell everybody, it takes quite a bit of money to run our city and to keep things going and to keep what we need to have, the things that we need to keep going done. And those are very important. And then I think we also had a change on, can we talk about the one, it's no big thing.
To be your agenda packet for Gary's awards.
Mhm.
Downtown, and it should have been Gary's Auto, and so we've gotten that corrected. And it will be issued Gary's Auto. If you look at the description on the payment for vehicle and auto parts. So we did get that one corrected, and so the checks will go correct in there.
Okay,
And then we also had 9,000 for the first installment on our audit this year, which is the last year of the contracted amount, correct?
We have a 3-year contract with our audit. We go out for bids for that every 3 years. This is our last year, those the 3-year contract. The total amount this year, since we did have a single audit, is $14,400. So this is the first installment payment of $9,500 for that. When they deliver the audit, it's to be done before July 31st. Then they'll invoice us for that remaining amount.
I think that's most of the bigger ones on there, but just so that, you know, people know that we are looking at these, and like I said, it just takes a lot to run our city and to keep them maintaining and keep things going and progressing. So I just wanted to bring that out so people are aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
yes, thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Moving into public hearing, special presentations and proclamations. First item is AAA safety presentation to Coffeyville Police Department. Sean Stewart, representing AAA, will make presentation to Police Chief Quinn Bromley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Like you said, I'm Sean Stewart with AAA Kansas. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to present tonight. I'm here to present the Coffeyville Police Department with the 2017 AAA Community Traffic Safety Award. These award was presented by us annually to encourage communities to address local traffic safety
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
This was, Sean, were those statistics for the state of Kansas?
Those were specific to your state, to
Oh, they were? Okay.
those are, KDOT statistics.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Nice.
2016 is the latest we have for this.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sean, could I have a copy of that? That will help me. Okay.
At this time, we'll do the swearing in of Police Officer Nick Bilby and Officer Russell White. If you will both come forward, please.
I'm not as first as Cindy is at this, so I'm gonna read from the papers. You guys can show you guys stuff here, make it obvious. Raise your right hand. And repeat after me. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for their actions. I will always uphold the Constitution of the United States. And of the state of Kansas. My community. And the agency I serve. Congratulations, gentlemen. Courtney and Brittany.
Good luck with it. Good luck. Welcome to coffee.
We'll now move into the USD 445 building project presentation. Superintendent Craig Carrell will make the presentation.
Mayor Ballard, Commissioners, thank you for having me here this evening. I am Dr. Craig Carrell. For those who don't know, I've just finished my 10th year here in Coffeyville, and in the last decade, Coffeyville Public Schools has made significant gains. Our ELC has been recognized as the state model for preschool. Our middle school has been recognized as a high-performing school each of the last 2 years. And this year, our elementary and high school were awarded challenge awards in reading and math. And this was the second year in a row for the high school to receive that award, the only high school in the state to do that. As a Mercury 7 school district, we were the first school district in the state of Kansas to be selected as a redesigned school. We have several exciting changes coming about due to this distinction. As a matter of fact, the State Board of Education just accepted our plan today. So I had a presentation earlier this afternoon, so I zoomed in for that meeting so I could be here in person for this meeting. With all the great things going on in Coffeyville, we are hitting some limitations in what we can accomplish, both functionally and academically, with our buildings. As some of you may know, the middle school and the high school are almost 100 years old. They were designed for education as it was 100 years ago. They were designed for access as it was 100 years ago. They were designed for student safety as it needed to be almost 100 years ago. We formed a facilities committee for the school district a little over 2 years ago. We had our first meeting May 31st of 2016. And that was made up of local citizens, and we began with an extensive tour of our own buildings to see what we had, and then we wanted to go see what was available in other districts. We made it a point to visit 4 other school districts. We visited new, and we wanted to visit remodeled. We visited Chanute, who has a pretty new high school campus, and then we went to Parsons Middle School. Parsons has a middle school very similar to our own middle school, that they've done a beautiful job of renovating. So that was the first real goal of the committee, was to see what was out there, look at new versus old. What the committee came to was they love our buildings. They love Roosevelt Middle School and Phil Kinley High School, and they are beautiful buildings. We've maintained them as well as we can. You know, the exteriors look outstanding. Interiors, we have some issues going on, and some of those issues you'll hear tonight. Most of what you'll hear tonight really isn't new. For those of you that may have been involved in the bond or the bond campaign 18 years ago with CES, most of these issues were talked about then. There were 2 failed bond attempts before that was pared down to the bond that eventually passed to build Community Elementary. The first issue I want to address is student safety. We need to secure our entrances. Today, safety is paramount in any of our schools, and every day we have to be thinking about school safety. Our front entrances at Roosevelt and Field Kinley are not safe. There's a doorbell. They are kept locked, but once you're buzzed in, it would be very easy for someone to, at Roosevelt, run upstairs or downstairs, or at the high school to go, a direction. We also have student safety when it comes to students being outside at the middle school and the high school. Our doors are unlocked, our back doors during lunch for about an hour and a half to enable students to walk back and forth to the food service center, and this is obviously not ideal. And we've also done a lot better job in the last several years of becoming more efficient and sharing more staff between our middle school and our high school. And being on the same schedule now allows that, so we do have middle school students that can attend classes at the high school and vice versa. And we want to continue with some of those efficiencies. And you may not know this, there's actually no designated FEMA tornado shelter at Roosevelt or at Field Kinley. At Roosevelt, they basically still go to the hallways and duck. At Field Kinley, they would go to the basement, which is where our water pipes are, our hot water pipes, if there were ever a tragic event, an F5 tornado, and we would have no idea what that could actually withstand, and we might put students in greater danger, actually, by being in the basement. Our plan at the middle school and the high school would also consist of renovating, remodeling existing classrooms. ADA is another issue that we have at both Roosevelt and Field Kinley. If you are a student or the family of a student, if you happen to be wheelchair bound, you have to make accommodations to call ahead and be let in the back door. There are also areas within each school that you could not get to. One of those would be the mezzanine in the Field Kinley Gymnasium. So if you are in a wheelchair, or you require a walker, you're forced to sit on the basketball court side to watch the game rather than to be able to go where the rest of the public can attend. When I first came to Coffeyville 10 years ago and I toured the buildings, one of the thoughts I had was it seemed like we had some of the most unwelcoming buildings when it came to parents and visitors that I'd ever seen. Parking at CE has always been a nightmare, to put it mildly. If you have a child at the high school that you need to come see, you have to park out on 8th Street and walk all the way in. And when you think about when these buildings were designed, it was 100 years ago before everyone had cars. And you didn't have as much traffic coming in as what we have now. After a basketball game a few years ago, some friends of mine from Independence came back and told me, when I come to a basketball game in Coffeyville, I feel like I'm having to park in a dark alley and be ushered into the back door of a building. And I kind of chuckled to myself, and I thought, well, that's because you're actually parking in a dark alley and you're coming in our back door. Our buildings were designed with really state-of-the-art at the time, ticket offices right there at the middle entrance to come in, and we never utilized the front of the buildings, which are the beautiful parts of our building. So what the facilities committee looked at was ways to address some parking in the front, and you'll see some designs in the packet, and rest assured I'm not going through that entire packet that I gave you. That's for you to peruse after our meeting. But they did come up with some really great ideas. One of the first comments ever made was, don't touch the front of the buildings, don't touch that beautiful front lawn. And you will see that the lawn's been touched somewhat, but very classy, and we've kept a lot of the green space and kept the front of the buildings. One issue that was not addressed 15 years ago when CE was built was the traffic. And it's always easy to look back, hindsight's 20/20, but it is obvious that our school was built on too little ground, with too little infrastructure. And we work every year with Chief Bromley and the police department, but you just have 1,000 students that are being dropped off and are being picked up every day, and it makes it very difficult. We have been visiting with an architect team that has a traffic engineer on site, so they are doing studies. Once they have some of these design plans, we will bring them back and visit with the police department to see what will work for Coffeyville. We know there has to be a better way than what there is now. The number of calls I get, especially in August, are tremendous at CES. And for those of you that have been there, you know that it can get very congested, and it's just not safe for our students that are trying to cross, and there's not crosswalks in some areas, and there's just so much traffic there. So our plan addresses all these issues, and also the Facilities Committee brought to our attention that they would like to see 6th grade moved to the middle school. And usually when it comes to towns looking at making a move like that, it's typically the school district asking families to do that, not usually the families asking the school district. We have several parents on the Facilities Committee that have had students go through, and 6th grade, can be one of those awkward years where you're kind of too old for elementary school, and maybe you're not quite ready for middle school, but we have some plans to incorporate them into the middle school without giving them free rein to the school, but allowing them access to some of our career exploratory classes that we have now, because we've been really excelling at our vocational courses and our elective offerings. So we feel that would be very good for our 6th grade students. So what I'm here today to ask for you is to consider allowing our citizens to vote on extending the half-cent sales tax that currently is applying to the CES bond to lessen the burden on property tax paid by home and business owners. That half-cent sales tax is due to expire in 2022, and the CES bond would pay off in 2024. We're still working with our Facilities Committee and our Board of Education on the specifics of this upcoming bond. We also had a meeting this morning with some business leaders. Some of you were in attendance last week at the public forum, and we will have some more of those. So we're still ironing out details and taking ideas. If you would pull the back 2 sheets out of your packet. You'll see a drawing of the school of Phil Kinley and Roosevelt. And everything you see in dark purple is existing, and what you see in light purple would be an addition. And you'll see where there have been some parking lots added. There's been a horseshoe drive put in so we could designate specific spots for visitors up front by the front doors, and handicap accessibility, and all of the issues that I talked to you about earlier addressed within this plan. The other sheet is a preliminary financial plan, and this is just one of our first stabs here. This went $28, $30, and $32 million bond proposals, depending on which direction we would go. And this shows the amount, the total, shows the amount per building. And at the top, you'll see they've done an estimate on the monthly cost to a property owner here in Coffeyville. The top line would be without the sales tax, how much it would cost the average homeowner who owned a $100,000 home. So you could take that and double it for a $200,000 home, cut that in half for a $50,000 valued home. The median home value in Coffeyville is $72,000. And then you'll see what that would be if the sales tax were extended and what that would save our property owners. And with that, I would take any questions now. I will be back in 2 weeks. I wanted to make sure you had plenty of time to read through the packet. I'll take any questions now, and you can also feel free to call, email, or come visit within the next 2 weeks.
When I said there's a lot of information.
There is a lot of information. This is the presentation that was given at the public forum.
Yeah.
But what's nice about this is you actually have all the poll results that were taken as well, so you
Right.
can see that information here. And we had 71 people in all attend. We had about 60 attend the evening session and 11 attend the next morning session.
Doctor, this is the first I've had a chance to look at it. I think I talked to you when he was coming in. I didn't get a chance to attend your meeting the other day. I'm anxious to look at it. 32 million seems like a lot.
That is a lot of money. Yes, sir.
And, but I'm sure we need some things. I really like, what you've done with the parking and stuff. A lot of that resonates. I went to school there, so I like some of that. I'm anxious to dig into it. And take a good look at it. I wouldn't mind doing a tour. Are you gonna have any public tours or anything like that to educate the public?
Yes, we are going to have more public meetings to bring in and have everyone available to speak. And
Well,
when we could,
what about to see,
and we could provide tours if necessary as well.
I mean, you know, I'd kinda like to do that, then I'm gonna get plenty of questions about this. I already had some today.
Sure.
You know, so I'd like to really see put some boots on the ground
Sure.
myself. I don't know when we could do that. I don't wanna, you know, wear everybody out with a whole bunch of too many, you know, different meetings. I don't know how you wanna coordinate that to make it easy on yourself and your system, okay, your
Okay.
people. So that's something we need to talk
Yeah,
about.
we can reach out.
Yep.
And something I omitted, there's also a sheet in your packet that looks at the safety of each individual classroom, and these are approved fire marshal devices that we can use in the classroom. There's a lot of devices that we can't use for safety reasons, and so we will be equipping each room with something of this nature. We've been doing a study on which would be most effective for us.
While we got you up here talking about safety, what about concealed carry for the teachers? What's going on that in the state of Kansas, or your thoughts?
Right now, nothing's going on that with the state of Kansas. There was some talk in legislation last year, and that didn't go anywhere. My thoughts would be mixed on that. We have a lot of teachers that wouldn't want that responsibility. We probably have a few that might, but I think we have a lot that wouldn't want that responsibility. So we want to look at every measure we can to protect our students. That's our number one
What
goal.
percentage of the teachers, with your vast knowledge now of your system and your people, what percentage would be open to investigating and look at that training and possibly carrying?
I wouldn't be able to say a percentage right now without actually polling them. I wouldn't want to say a number and be incorrect.
You wouldn't take a guess at it,
I'd hate to take a guess at it.
okay?
You might hold me to it, and then I might be wrong.
No, I understand, that's fair enough. There's been a lot of talk about it, as you know, and everybody else knows.
Right.
And safety of our children is very important.
Yes, it is.
I'd like to see something looked at with all that, but now's not the time to talk about it, but it's being talked about in the public, and here we are, so. And this safety thing, you brought it up, so I'm actually to look at that too, so.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
I think this is a good idea. The question, and I've thumbed through the packet, and I agree with most everything that I've seen in the packet. Like I said, I think it's a good idea. The burning question is how do we get to funding it? And that's where we kind of come in. And these are questions basically centered around the funding options. If the commission at a later date chooses to allow a 1/2-cent sales tax to go to the vote of the citizens, at what point does the school district choose which option that you're going to go with? Because you got 3 different options here, and what goes into that decision-making process on which option that you're going to choose?
We'll have that lined out before I'm here next time. What goes into that option is continued meetings with my facilities committee. I have individual meetings scheduled right now. We've been having whole group meetings. We had a business leaders meeting just this morning, getting our local business leaders input. They had some ideas this morning that I've shared with our architect team to see what could we do, what could we incorporate, or some other ways to really look at this. So when we come back, we'll have a hard and fast number
Of which option you're going to choose?
Of which option we would be looking at, yes.
Okay. And
there could be an option that isn't even listed on here yet.
okay. And for the most part, there's some sense thrown in there, but for the most part, each option that you're choosing or that you have listed here, there's about a $2 difference between a option number 1 is a mill levy increase and a sales tax versus just the straight mill levy
Right.
increase. So basically, for the most part, we're talking about a $2 difference
Yes.
and some change.
$2 monthly.
Yeah,
Yes.
and some change. So then my next question is if the city commission chooses to extend that option to the district to use the half-cent sales tax, that goes to a vote of the
Yes.
people.
Yes.
If the city commission, on the flip side, doesn't choose to use that option to use the sales tax, then what happens? Who decides then? Does that go to the voters, or does that
The
go
board
to?
will decide whether the bond issue without the sales tax goes to the voters, the Board of Education.
Okay, so there's still an option, though.
There's still
that-
an option of going through with this, and the way the ballot would read would be, or one way the ballot could read would be a yes or no on the bond issue with mill levy only, and then a yes or no on the sales tax.
Okay.
So the bond could pass, but the sales tax could not pass, and then it would just pass on the mill levy increase only.
Okay.
If it was written that way. So there's varying ways to word that ballot.
Okay, those are
And
my.
the earliest we would be looking at would be a September election is the earliest. Unfortunately, Kansas incorporated a new law last year, and there's a bond cap in Kansas. And the intent is very understandable. Most districts receive a percentage of state aid. And so when they pass a bond issue, the state is obligated then to fund that portion of that percentage of the aid to those districts. The state put a bond cap in of $300 million for the entire state, which is an extremely low amount when you consider Blue Valley, Olathe run $250, $300 million bonds, somewhat frequently. Coffeyville doesn't even receive state aid because of our high valuation here in town. So the intent of this law really doesn't apply to Coffeyville, but we have to apply Monday morning, July 2nd for these funds. And if you don't apply then, you don't get them. Right now, we know of $270 million that's being asked for July 2nd. So there could be more. So once that cap is reached, you can't ask again for funds until July of 2019.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had.
Everybody knows that our sales tax is down right now. This is kind of scary to incorporate sales tax with our sales tax dropping. Hopefully it picks up. Hopefully more people are buying local, and it helps. For $2.54, to not incorporate sales tax, I'm struggling with that decision. And so just to clarify, there is another option besides incorporating sales tax, correct?
There would be the mill levy increase only. So I would just be asking the commission to put that on the ballot and let the voters decide whether they wanted to utilize sales tax to help alleviate property tax or not.
Okay.
But yes, there will be the other option to do mill levy only. And if the sales tax is put on, obviously when the sales tax comes in a little low, then that mill levy is going to have to adjust to compensate to make that bond payment.
Right. I don't have any more questions for right now.
No other questions?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Farrell.
Doctor.
This time we'll move into new business. Resolution number R-18-42, a resolution to approve a commercial business incentive agreement with Thompson Brothers Welding and Industrial Supply. City Clerk Cindy Price will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, I will present this for Mike since he's unable to be here. Thompson Brothers Welding and Industrial Supply has recently purchased a new facility at 407 North Klein. Many of you would know this as the Warburton Valve Building, most recently the M&M Building. They're planning to move their current industrial cylinder fill station, which is on 4th Street across from Sherwin-Williams, out to the larger site on Klein. The property on Klein is currently served by a private sanitary sewer lift pump station that was installed over 30 years ago. Thompson Brothers approached the city and asked if the city would install a new lift station. current city codes state that property owners must come to the city's nearest approved main with all sanitary sewer lines. The city did look at the request, did some figuring on what the cost would be to meet the Kansas Department of Health and Environment standards for a municipal-owned lift station, and the cost of that would have been in excess of $35,000. Thompson's could install a private sanitary sewer lift for approximately $10,000, and that still meets all the current codes that the city has with sewer connections. Staff looked at the cost of building it themselves versus the Thompson brothers doing the private connection, and determined that would offer an economic development grant to assist with this utility infrastructure, the sewer lift station, in the amount of $10,000, and that made good economic sense. It will be assisting a local business, and with the local businesses move out to Klein, that very well could result in additional jobs for Thompson Brothers. So staff is recommending that the agreement be approved with Thompson Brothers in the amount of $10,000 grant. If you have any question, Ryan Thompson is here, and he can answer any questions that, any specific questions that you would have on it.
So the grant, how's that work, the grant?
A grant would be $10,000. A grant is different than a loan. Loan, we would expect them to be paid back. A grant would be given to the business
So where does the money come from?
from the Economic Development Fund. Looking at that as economic development, because it is a local business that's expanding, adding additional jobs.
Using local contractors.
Yeah. Any other questions from the commission?
I move to approve resolution number R-18-42.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve resolution number R-18-42 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Resolution number R-18-43, a resolution to approve a loan application for the Distressed Housing Reinvestment Program for properties in the Ville for 1120 West 9th Street. City Clerk Cindy Price will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, the Distressed Property Reinvestment Program was started in 2014 with funding from the City of Coffeyville and the Kansas Housing Resource Corporation, KHRC. The goal of that program is to rehabilitate distressed housing in targeted neighborhoods and encourage private reinvestment back into the neighborhoods. The program is set up to be gap financing, and it would cover $40,000 per housing unit. 25% of that $40,000 or $10,000 would be forgiven, provided that the applicant met specific requirements outlined in the program. Peggy Steele has used this program. You're familiar with this because Peggy has utilized the program and has renovated 5 properties. She has recently purchased her 6th property and is requesting the $40,000 loan. The property that she has purchased is at 1120 West 9th. That is across the street from 2 houses that she has done and adjacent to a 3rd. So there would be 4 of these houses that are just right there together. All of this, all of her houses, all 6 of her houses are on 9th Street. And we just last year completed the CDBG grant, redid the street, the sidewalks. It has really changed the look of 9th Street. 9th Street is is good to drive down now. There was a long time when you really hated to drive down 9th Street. 9th Street's good. It's looking good. And the program is also encouraging neighbors, Peggy's neighbors, to fix up their houses. So she has submitted an application for $40,000 loan for the renovation of the property at 1120 West 9th. It will be structured the same as the fifth loan that she got, and that's at 10 years for 2.75% interest. Once the $30,000 is paid on the loan, then the other $10,000 is forgiven. In the packet, there's a picture of the house that she has purchased. Also included was an update on her other properties, and that includes some before and after pictures. Peggy is here. She may want to make some comments about what she's doing in the city of Coffeyville. Peggy, do you have any comments you want to make? Do you have any questions for Peggy?
Well, I got a couple questions. I don't know if she needs to come up to the podium. Come on up if you want, Peg. But how much money are we gonna have left in this deal? I mean, is there gonna be anything
The
left? Or,
balance
anyone else want a
after,
lot of money?
yeah, how many more? The balance after this loan, if it is approved, would be $61,388.
Is there-
And of course, she's making monthly payments on her 5 properties, and she pays every month right on time.
Yeah.
And then we have the other loan with Jared Green, and he is paying.
Good, that's good enough.
So it is reimbursing the fund.
Good.
Well, I've seen your house, so I think that area looks fantastic. You drive through it, walk through it, and it looks great. You know,
Craig Carell's really excited because this next house is, we've had young teachers who need housing.
good.
And it's been a problem because of what's available.
Mm-hmm.
And so our intention with this house and possibly one more is to have it rentable and affordable for people like these young teachers who are coming in, who have asked us, but we have a waiting list. And that's wonderful. So we're thrilled.
And we have to remember, that's exactly what this fund was set aside
Yeah.
for, to do this exact thing. And it's, to see it happening is nice. And just like Cindy said, you know, it's reinvesting itself. I mean,
Well, and it
it's-
costs a
it's
lot more
recycling
than,
itself.
every house has cost a lot more than $40,000.
I believe that.
So where does this money come from again, Cindy, so everybody knows?
It was funding from the city, and then the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation. We had some funds from that we received after the flood.
Right, that's great. Great. Well, sounds good.
Any other questions?
I just want to say that I've had a lot of people in the community say that they really enjoy driving down 9th Street now. Kind of like Cindy said, so
Thank you.
Yeah,
We have a
kudos
lot
to
of
you.
people stop, they see us on the porch,
Yeah.
and they come up, so it's wonderful. It's
Thank you.
wonderful. And we do have neighbors who are pitching in, and there's lots of stories. It's ongoing. It's an epic. It's a
Fantastic.
saga. It's unfolding, so
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you,
for
Peggy.
your support.
I'll move to approve resolution R-18-43 for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Doan to approve resolution number R-18-43 for adoption. Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Do you have a city manager's report, Cindy? Or are we just gonna skip that tonight?
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I have some things that I want to go over under comments from the staff. Mike, and just for the audience, Mike is out with his electric crews. We still have some power outages. Our crews have been out since probably 3 o'clock was when they got
You called
called
me
out
4 a.m.
this morning. And he's got everybody out working, so he is out with the crews.
I talked to him a little bit ago, I guess now would be the time. I asked him if wanted us to say anything for him, and he said that he just wanted to say, thanks for the citizens being patient. And like you said, they've been out since 4, and they're getting it done.
We had a number of trees down, and then we did lose some power poles that snapped. So that's what they're doing now, is getting the poles replaced. And their primary concern is getting everybody's power back just as soon as possible. Mike did want to note that the bond refunding is complete. And now the staff's focus will be on the funding mechanism for the AMI project. And Stephanie and Mike have been reviewing funding options and looking at different options to bring to you. Also looking at paring the project down somewhat. And he just wanted your approval to move forward with looking at the different funding mechanisms and the project. And then they will bring that back to you. Okay.
Of course.
Thank you.
Excellent.
At this time, we'll open it up to comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Can everybody jump at once? At this time, we'll take comments from commissioners and staff.
Well, publicly, I was not able to attend your father's service the other day, and we all know you lost your father unexpectedly, and we want to just say you've been in our thoughts, and a lot of people I've talked to are glad you're back
I appreciate it.
and going.
Yeah, thank you. Busy the last 3 weeks, so it's been a little crazy. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. I watched the commission meeting, so I knew you guys would do perfectly great. So, no questions. Anything else from the commission?
Well, the tree dump's open.
Good point.
Yes.
What are the tree dump hours going to be? I know it was open
If you don't
tonight
have
until.
any other comments from the commissioners, I'll go ahead and go through what I have, and that's part of what it is.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sure.
I'll do the tree dump first. It was open today at just shortly after 10 o'clock to 5, and it will be open tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. to 5. Thursday and Friday, it will go back to the regular hours, 3 to 6. Of course, Saturday, it's open 8 to 4, Sunday, noon to 4.
Okay.
The landlord license, I checked today, and we have licensed 114 landlords for the rental standards. The deadline is June 30th to get registered, which will not entail an inspection of the property. Of course, they can get registered after July 1st, but all of their properties would have to be inspected after that date. We have an opening on the Planning Commission. I will advertise that in a couple of days. The Aquatic Center will close tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We have a swim meet tomorrow the 13th, and it will start at 6 o'clock. And the pool will also close at 4 o'clock on June the 20th for a swim meet. And that's been posted out there to let the public know. And finally, I want to give you a little preview of the website. This has been a project that we've been working on for a long time. And on Thursday at 2 o'clock, there will be the switchover, and the new website will come up. Now, I do have to say, this is a work in progress. A website is always a work in progress because you always have to continually keep it updated. There's still a lot of work that I need to do on this, but it will get there. Chris gave me a mouse. I'm going to see. I don't know if I can see. There it is. Okay. It's been modernized, the bigger picture, bigger buttons. The search button, that was one thing that commissioners had made comments about. The search button didn't seem to be easily found on the previous website. We put the graphic links that are the most common, and I don't see my mouse. Is it there?
Kind of bouncing around a little bit, but
It's in the trees.
there.
It's in
Online
the
bill
trees.
pay.
Okay, here we go.
These look like professional shots.
The online bill pay. All of the, now Chris, I can't get this back, I can't see the back button up there, there. I'm gonna click something and,
Right there.
can you operate this, Chris?
Yeah,
Can-
I'll take
can
it.
you- Okay, can you go back to the home page? Sorry, I picked one that doesn't have the big city logo on there to get back to the home. There we go. Okay, now let's go to the. Here we go. There. The job openings that we have. Okay, I can't do that from here, and I apologize
Okay.
for that.
Look
Chris,
pretty
go
good.
back
What we've seen
to,
of
go
looks
back
pretty
to the
good.
home page,
Yeah, it does look good.
and then we'll scroll down. It's got the quick links on the side. Those are ones that are some of the most used on the city's website. The Code of Ordinances, permits, licensing. That is where the water confidence report has been placed. That was something that we were required to get on there. In the middle of the page will be our news items and also the calendar. There are at the bottom additional quick links, but it is more modern, works better on tablets and phones, so that people can see at a glance what's available. As part of our contract with Civic Plus, we will be also updating our mobile app. We had to get this one completed before they could do the mobile app. It utilizes, our older website has all of the same links across the top, and then you've got your flyout menus. This uses what they call the mega menus. Chris, will you click on one of the links and shows all of the different pages that are available under there. The Coffeyville website has a tremendous amount of information, and it's a good resource for us. So anyway, 2 o'clock Thursday, it'll take a little bit, they said, for it to roll out, but we will be having a new look.
Looks nice. I like it.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Chris.
I do have one comment. I almost forgot, but a few of us attended the Montgomery County Action Council water meeting last night. It went really well. There was good attendance, very educational, provided a lot of really good information, had a very competent, good panel up there speaking. There was some small group sessions at the tables where individuals could state pros and cons and concerns and appreciations of the possibility of Tyson, and the panel took turns answering the questions, and I feel it was a really good step, so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Anything else? This time I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.